So superb that we find here. So I was telling you that these so many languages. So I was just telling you that there were so many languages which are authentic, and the Sanskrit is the most old language. So this is something which has been recognized by one person. So there is based on the kind of computations that has been done by astronomers in India and the accuracy with which they could make the predictions 3 centuries back. Okay? Today we have so many sophisticated devices and sophisticated theory by which we may be able to do far better. But in those days, when the tool was only naked eye, the kind of sophistication that they have reached is something which has been expressed by a wonderful scholar called John Playfair. So repeatedly noticing that they have been able to achieve this kind of accuracy, he makes 3 propositions. One, he says it is all pure coincidence, right? You compute, something comes. Okay, there is a saying in Tamil. In the crow sat. Okay, that fell. See, somebody created a very interesting thing out of this. That is what the beauty of this. See, the language, after all, we may do this computer, we may do this aeronautics, we may do something else. Okay, we may do this rocket going also. But all said and done, ultimately, we would like to spend some time in enjoying the literature. Okay, so there are so many people who would like to read, because that gives a kind of a different kind of a thing. There is an interesting verse to which this poet uses. Khalvato Divaseshwarasya. Remember? Mahapalena. So I was just saying, so the crow sat and this palm fruit fell. Okay, somebody wanted to actually use this, okay, to convey a very, very powerful message. So many a times we come across what is called luck, etc., etc. So this kavya is sort of a medium by which they try to make you understand the worldly wisdom. So that is something, see, they try to fill the kavya with moral values, worldly wisdom, so that, I mean, whatever you have read is something which can be translated into your life. See, not like reading Harry Potter. So then, okay, nishprayojanam. That is all. You don't actually gain something. After all, we have to engage in something, that is fine. But the engagement should be something which is going to be fruitful, which gets translated into our life. Okay? So that is something which is very useful here. Anyway, so I'll leave that now. This fellow said it could be a pure coincidence. But repeatedly, if something comes out well, it can't be called a coincidence. Okay, that has to be ruled out. So the second thing is there was a Newton among the Brahmins, is what he's saying, but there can't be Newton among the Brahmins. I mean, in 2 senses. Okay, some people believe that there cannot be Newton among the Brahmins. So anyway, so that is another kind of a thing. So which means essentially, so there should have been equations which is able to capture the phenomenon quantitatively. That's what it means. No such theory was there. And the third thing is observations were made in India when all Europe was barbarous and uninhabited. Okay. So, and he says almost 5,000 years old. Okay. So the kind of observation that could have been done for achieving this kind of accuracy should be that. This is what he's trying to do. So if this were there, see, this is something which has been estimated by a well-known scientist who was an outstanding scholar. Okay. The paper is called Astronomy of the Brahmins. See? See, it was published in 1970. So it is a 1790, sorry. 1790. So this is almost 50, 60 pages paper. Very, very tightly written. I did not even read fully, but I'm just saying. So the kind of fascination that he got by looking at this made him write such a longish paper with so much of analysis. So that is the point. So all this has been in Sanskrit language. Understand? So if you want to have a feel for any of these things, there is no other way. So but to resort to this language, okay, learning this. There are various other advantages. I'll leave this. Okay, I'll just give you a few examples. The other thing about this language is, so there is a field which has got established to try to find how a particular noun has been coined from a verb. So if you just think initially, when we want to develop something, language, activity is something which is necessarily undertaken by any being. Okay? It need not be human being. Without activity, we cannot survive. And this activity, so she was saying, Gayatri was saying, tea often. Okay? So the gas. So when something is kept, so you have to boil, so you have to switch off. So all these are activities. And we would like to initially, even when we want to communicate to the other, we would like to coin verbs first. Okay. And then as things keep growing, we keep inventing various things. So, and we keep creating various kinds of devices at various points of time. And in order to refer to them, we try to coin some words. And these words are also coined in such a way, primarily, for instance, even when you take computer, so it was initially for that purpose. So you try to coin in such a way that it conveys the activity that this device performs. Okay? So this is a certain branch which has been well established in Sanskrit literature, particularly to try and trace what kind of activity it is connected with. So suppose I say netra. Okay. So netram, it refers to eyes. So there, so niyate aneneti netram means this person is led by this. So shrotram, shruyate aneneti shrotram. You understand? So all the nouns that are employed by us ultimately are connected to certain verbs which form the ultimate basis. So this is the kind of thing. So the word yuga, for instance. Why is this word yuga used? So it is said yujyante asmin grahaha iti yugam. So yujyante asmin grahaha. Yujyante means they get associated with, they come together. Okay? So they come together is the meaning. So we have this long periods. Perima, yuga. You know yuga? There are 4 yugas. Any of you know? What are Kali Yuga. Okay. Do you have some idea of the durations? 4,32,000 years. This is what they say. Okay. So Kali Yuga is this. So 10 times this is the period of all the 4 yugas. So you go 1:2, 2:2, 3:4. So you add them, you will get 10, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. So this period, why did they come up with this period? So that is how we understand the word itself. Suppose you assume that there are a few objects which are moving. So these objects assume that they are aligned at one point of time in one particular direction. At one point of time, all these objects which are seen to be moving in the background of stars are aligned in one particular direction. So the sun takes, how long does it take to go around the earth? No? Roughly that, right? Okay. So this 365.25 and moon?
Around 127. 27.5.
Around 27.3. Now, for them to come together once again, how long will it take? Some of you can quickly do mental computations. This is not that difficult a problem. Suppose sun takes 365, moon takes 27. Yes. No. Sun is there. So it is also seen to be moving. Let us assume. Moon is moving. So how long will the moon take to meet the sun once again? That is what is called yoga. So today she was saying Paurnami. Paurnami means full moon. The relative position of sun and the moon. No. Opposite. They are exactly 180 degrees. Okay, exactly 180 degrees. So, and it comes once again, falls in line with the sun. So that you call a new moon. Okay. So what is the time interval between two new moon days? No, you tell me. Will it be more than 27, less than 27? No. Moon coming back to the same star is 27.33. Okay. Moon coming and meeting the sun. It should be longer. Why?
As the earth is also
Because sun has moved, right? So you are saying earth is moving. How do you know earth is moving? Anyway, that we will leave. Now, this is what is called Yujyante. So this is sun and the moon meeting. Okay. This will be a very complicated problem. Okay. And it will not be a constant at all. So this will be something between 28 to even 30 plus days. 31 sometimes also. Okay, it is a completely variable entity. Okay. So the time interval between two Amavasyas, if you want to calculate to 5-6 decimal places, then you cannot find at all. Okay. To reasonable accuracy, you may be able to say within this it will happen. Because no two things are just constant. So continuously varying. Now, if you want to take this problem to extend it to other things also. Okay. So suppose Mercury is moving around, Jupiter is moving around, Saturn is moving around. So all of them should once again converge at the same point. Okay. So that will happen only in a very, very long period. Okay. So that is what is the duration of the Mahayuga. So they may not come exactly in the same line, but they will be something close to, okay, within a few degrees of separation. So this is how they have come up with this long intervals. So that's what is explained by the word. So I just took this as an example to tell you that see, niyate, iti netam, and so on and so forth. So this yuga is also a term which has been coined like this. Okay. And there are, our texts actually say, this is another interesting thing. I don't know. See, you might not be aware in 2011. So there was a huge tsunami, which actually moved the entire island of Japan by 7 feet. So a big burst in the ocean. Okay. So why does the burst happen?
Tectonic plates.
That is different. That is one aspect. Otherwise also it can happen, of course.
Moon gravity.
No. So this is another thing. Okay. So this, let us leave it for the moment. There are various things associated with that. The point I wanted to convey was, almost all astronomers have categorically stated in their texts that the values that have been presented by me for computing the planetary position cannot be taken to be valid forever. Understand? Some of them say that this will be valid only for 100 years. Okay, depending on the kind of accuracy that they have employed in presenting the parameters in their own text. And some will say that it can be valid for a few more 100 years and so on. But all of them unanimously declare that you cannot consider this to be a number which is a constant, and you have to keep updating the parameters by making observations. Why am I making this statement? I'm making this statement simply because this is the very nature of science. Okay. So nothing is actually. So earlier people were claiming BMI will tell you this. See, this BMI, with BMI, you will be able to tell whether this fellow is going to be a diabetic or not, etc. If it is less than 23, I mean, you will be less chance. And so it's all completely bogus. Okay, there are people who have less than 21, they have diabetes. And there are people who have 30 plus, they also have, they don't have diabetes. So there are so many factors which influence. See, today we have come to a certain understanding that this is not something which is going to be working forever across population. There are so many other factors which come into play. Now, the reason I'm saying this is, these astronomers, they may not know, okay, this theory, that theory, etc. But they have had a very clear understanding of the phenomenon, that it is something which is continuously changing. Okay. So this is a very interesting observation. And one of the factors that has affected this motion is this. See, what will happen? Just imagine that you said some 365.25. Okay. What is this 365 and connected to the duration of the year? What is year and what is this day? Year is something which is a longer duration. And how do you say 1 year is over? Not after January 1, once again. What happens? Complete? Complete revolution of the sun around the earth. Okay, sun comes back to the same star as seen by you. As seen by you. The sun comes back to the same star, like the moon comes back to the same star, correct? So this is what you call as a year. And during this period, the earth keeps spinning, correct? On its axis. Suppose the rotation, this is called rotation around the axis. Suppose the rotational speed changes. What will happen? Then
The number of days will.
the number of days in a year is going to be varying. Okay, this is what is happening. So at one point of time, we had almost 400 plus days in a year. Okay, now it is slowly decreasing. This phenomenon of this kind of eruption somewhere accelerates the rotation. You understand? Normally it is slowing down, but this is something which accelerates. The reason I'm saying is there are statements like, see, in some of these commentaries, I see. So they say that as you keep carrying a lamp, assume that you are moving in a dark area. You can only recognize what is there within a certain radius around you, right? So similarly, so samipa bhavaha kalaha eva nirnetum shakya. This is the analogy that they give. To understand that this is a phenomenon which is continuously changing. Okay, so this kind of understanding of science is very essential. So that is what I want to tell. And the whole of these are all connected phenomena. See, I tell you, there was a book in your house. What is the story of Paya? I saw. There is some 300-page book. Story of Pi or something like that.
No.
Life of Pi, Life of Pi. What is that? It has to do with Pi or? Nothing to do with Pi.
Oh.
Mathematical Pi. Okay.
Based on the movie based on some tiger.
No, but there should be some connection with Pi. No? No connection. Okay, anyway. So, okay. So, anyway, this pi is a very, very interesting number in mathematics. Okay. So, the origins of the calculation of pi so starts here. See. So, you see, there are three things. One is square, the other is semicircle, the other is circle. Okay. Suppose you were to say that the area of all the three geometric shapes should be same. So area of a square is a square. So area of a circle is pi r square. Where did this number come? So this is some very strange number, right? But the circle is something which all of us can visualize. And the area of a square or a rectangle is so simple, right? So you just make some small squares, then you count and then you will count and then you will get that, right? But as far as this, the circle is the most beautiful object that you can most easily draw also. Not joke. I'm saying to draw a square, you need to have exact right angles. No? So for that you need some other device. But to draw a circle, you don't need anything. You have to have a peg there, then some rope, keep rotating over. That's all. No other device. You can get a very beautiful thing. But how do you compute the area? By dissecting it into various forms. But then you will not get exactly.
Fit it under a square, then remove the.
No, but how would you calculate that? So there may be, if you could make it tinier, you will get more number of things to be subtracted, added, and so, right? So this seems to be a very complicated problem. But somehow these people came up with this kind of a sacrificial altar and they wanted to do. Okay. So this is how it seems to have started long back. Okay. And they had very complicated picture like this also. Okay. You want to compute the area of this. Okay. You will say the number of bricks is fixed, so on and so on and so forth. Okay. So then, so tell me what is the time and how long should I go?
We have 20 more minutes.
20 more minutes. Okay. So I'll take you to something else. So how many of you cannot read the verse below? Cannot read. Only some folks right. Okay. Doesn't matter. So now you see, I was telling you that any Shastra really fascinates you. So some time back, I had an occasion to get fascinated a few years back about what is called Chandas Shastra. The Chandas means study of metrical patterns. Study of metrical patterns. Some of you may be learning music also, right? So you give some various names to ragas. What is it based on? So the kind of pattern is the structure up and down, right? Similarly, in the composition of literature also, so human mind comes up with some kind of a pattern. Okay. This pattern is always something which is very appealing, okay. Whether it is building construction, right? Or it is composition of a literature, or it is musical composition, or it is this dancing also, whatever. There is a certain rhythm and a pattern which is very appealing to us. So people undertook a study of the metrical patterns which are found in Vedic literature and later also. So in Sanskrit literature, that is something which is really unparalleled, I would say. So no other language has produced these many patterns, okay, in the composition. So rhythmic metrical composition. So there is a branch of study to look at this metrical pattern itself. This is what is called Chandas Shastra. And what is your name?
Veda.
Veda. Huh?
Aditi.
Aditi. Okay. Now, Aditi. How many syllables are there? Veda. 2. Okay. Now, Aditi. All of them are short. Right? Suppose I say Rama. Second is long, first is short, right? Veda. No, it is not with Da, Veda. First is long, second is short. Okay. You want to say something? Okay. Suppose I say Rama. It is like Veda. Suppose you say Sita. Both are, right? Now you can either count. Suppose it is one is Guru, it is 2 beats. One is Lagu, it is 1 beat. Suppose I say Aditi, it has 3 beats. Veda also has 3 beats. Rama also has 3 beats. Rama also has 3 beats. Okay. So one can be either short or long. Suppose I add one more syllable, it can be either short or long. And therefore 2 syllables can make 4 patterns. 2 to the power 2. 3 can make 8 patterns. 2 to the power 3. Right? So somebody is asking this question. What will be the total number of patterns that are possible? Suppose I give you the number of syllables up to 26. Giving all the patterns. 1 syllable means 2 patterns. Can be short or long. 2 means 4 patterns. Short, 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 long, 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 right? So similarly, the number will be 2 to 2 to the power 2 plus 2 to the power 3 plus 2 to the power n in general. This is what we call as geometric progression, right? And the sum is that. So these people are given the result, you see, Virvyunam tadantanam. See, that is the sutra. Dvirvyunam tadantanam. So that is essentially 2 to the n plus 1 minus 2. Dvyunam means reduced by 2. Okay. So see, tadanta means suppose it is n. The number of possible patterns with n syllables is 2 to the n. So tadantanam ya sankhya sa dvihi karya means 2 to the n into 2 is 2 to the n plus 1. So subtract 2 to that. So this is a geometrical progression result, okay, which has been nicely put in the form of a sutra. So that is what Vivekananda says, fascination. Understand? So, and how to state it is also very beautiful. And now you see the verse. See, you can read that. Right. No, that below that. Saptashatani chaiva tatha sahasranyapi saptapantihi lakshani dridveda susamvitani kotyas tatha ramanisha karaisyu. I'll tell you, see, there are 2-3 things that you have to notice here. This verse gives you the number of metrical patterns that are possible up to 2 to the 26. Okay, starting with 1 syllable up to 2 to the 26. Now, this is a number which cannot be so easily calculated unless you multiply 2 26 times. Okay. So 2 to the power 5, suppose you ask the 32, 2 to the power 8, you can very quickly say. But 2 to the 26, nobody will be able to say. Now, there is a certain technique by which they will be able to compute this very fast also. I'm not teaching that, okay? That is something which is very interesting. They have found a way to compute, not multiplying 226 times, but you will be reduce it very significantly for large numbers. That kind of innovation that they have done in Pingala's time, which means some 2,300 years ago. That's what I'm trying to say. Now, this verse gives you that number. See, 13 crore 42 lakh 17,726. This is the number. Okay. Suppose you sum this. See, you put n is equal to 26, you will get this number. Now, this number can be very easily kept in mind, provided you put it in the verse form, right? That is what they have attempted. Okay. This is a very poetic way. So you just make the child sing. So it will memorize that and it will be there. So you can present various formula also like this. Now you see, what is the last word here? Ramanisha Karaihi. So they will start with the least significant place and then move to the most significant place. This is how numbers are stated. Okay. This is the most easiest way. Suppose you have to read a number which is some 14 places. It is very difficult for you to count and then say 14 million, whatever billion, trillion. Okay. But if you go from here, you will naturally come up. Right? So that is the technique that they have adopted anyway. So you start with Shadvimshati means 26. Saptashatani means 700. Okay. You start saying 26, 700, you can keep on reading. So very easy. Okay. So you don't need to actually know how many digits are there before. But as you keep moving, you will know how many digits are there. This is the system that has been adopted. Now you see Rama Nishakarais. So this verse has to be fitting in some metrical pattern. So you have to find some ingenious way to fit the meter as well as represent the number. You understand? So they have devised various schemes by which they can These are all really very interesting, fascinating to children. See, and this will enhance a lot of creativity. Now, fortunately, we will be able to introduce all this to the curriculum, hopefully. Okay. So this will be quite exciting for people, and it will make them also very creative. They can come up with some new object referring to some number. So Nishakara, what is Nishakara? No. So Nishachara is Rakshasa. Okay. Nishacharaha. Okay. So Ratru Charatiti, that fellow is Nishachara. Nowadays, most of us are both metaphorically and really. Nishachara. So the other is Nishakara. Okay, the one who makes the night. Okay. Divakara means sun. Nishakara means moon. So the number of moons is only one. Therefore, it represents number 1. Okay. So Rama, you know Rama, how many Ramas are there?
1.
You know only one Rama?
Three.
Kodanda Rama. Somebody else. You tell. Balarama, Parashurama, and Kodanda Rama. Okay, very good. So 3 Ramas. Rama means 3. Now you see, Rama Nishakara, 13. See, last number is 1. Nishakara is 1. Rama is 3. And so on. Drik Veda. How many Vedas are there? 4. Drik means? Drik. No, that is Dik. Dik is direction. See. So, Yena Drishyate. Netra. So, now you see the number 4-2. Understand? 13-4-2. So, this way you can beautifully integrate. Okay. So, the numbers with the metrical pattern with various synonyms, whatever will fit. So, this will enhance a lot of creativity. So, just to come back to what Vivekananda said, there is a lot of fascination. Okay. In trying to pick up this language and try to understand the various kinds of literature that are produced in this language. Okay. So if you get into the works of Kalidasa, if you get into the works of Vanabhatta, you would never ever feel like keeping the book down. It is so engaging. And those who have crossed the middle ages in life, okay. So the mid-age crisis also. So then, I mean, they will get fascinated with certain other things. See, for you also, there is a lot of things to get fascinated. I'll just give you one thing. Okay, I want to tell. See. See, so you can also enjoy. Suppose you want to enjoy this from a different viewpoint, then also you can enjoy. See. So happy to see you. I'm always thinking of you. I want to be with you. See, each of them has a nice word. Okay. So this is something which is I found in the commentary of Mallinatha. Mallinatha has written brilliant commentary to all the works of Kalidasa. One of the works is called Meghaduta. So in that he said, Preksha, Diriksha, Ramneshu, Satchinta, Tvilashakaha, Ragas, Tatsanga, Buddhisya, Snehas, Pravanakriya. Then, so that will grow to I cannot be with you. Then later, see, so this is something which they have used various terms. So to even express, that is what I wanted to say. See, we know that we have emotions, but what are the emotions? How are they to be classified, etc., etc. This itself is the branch of a certain Shastra, which is called actually Sahitya Shastra. Ratihi tatsaha vartanam shringadas tatsamam krida sanyogas saptadha kramat. So all kinds of things you can find in the Sanskrit language. Okay, so this is one thing. Who is this person? Bill Gates. See, I wanted to actually tell you something very important about this. This Bhagyayatta. Okay. Bhagyayatta matah param nakaluta vachyam vadhu bandhubi. Sutra vartate. Sutam va. See, Shakuntalam. See. Shakuntalam is a beautiful Nataka which has been. So it is 356. So this the thing is, so whether it is something which is related to sciences, whether it is something related to arts, whether it is something related to highest philosophy, whether it is something related to the worldly wisdom, you can find plenty of literature that has been created in Sanskrit. So the reason for saying this is, so I wanted to tell you that this person is studied in 1960s, okay? 65 years back, some 55 years back. He studied in this school, okay, in Seattle, and he was one of the persons of the 300 who studied in the school. But then the total number of children around that age would be something 10,000 times. Okay? But this was the only school which had computer in those days. Okay. So for you to be lucky to study in this school, okay. So how many people would have those kinds of chances? The point I'm trying to make is, this is something which you will be able to understand when you actually read a certain story, and a certain moral is something which is beautifully integrated in the form of verses. This is what I would say is the most important element, okay, as far as study of Sanskrit literature is concerned. Take any kavya, so they will be integrating, okay, worldly wisdom and moral values brilliantly through the stories, okay, which you don't find anywhere else. Okay. So these are things which will be extremely useful when you try to deal with so many situations in life. If you miss that, then there is a serious thing that we miss. So with this, I think I will. Unfortunately, these two diagrams I want to show and then finish. You see, in 1870, this is the teaching that is happening in Varanasi. Okay, there was a person called Bapudeva Shastri. He was a very brilliant person. So he got trained himself in Sanskrit very well, and then with his brilliance, he picked up mathematics in no time. And then you see the way it is being taught, nobody has any device. Everyone is just looking, you understand? So you hear, just 150 years ago, I'm saying, okay, this is the kind of thing that was done. So even in my own father's time, so 60, 70 years ago, 60 years ago, so my grandfather was teaching with no book in his hand, Veda. And my father was supposed to recite with no book in his hand. You understand? So this is a certain faculty which people have been losing today. Okay? I don't think it is worth doing that. Okay, now this is what we have. A for apple, B for Bluetooth, C for chat, D for download, Y for YouTube. So everything has become yantramayam jagat. So mantramayam jagat, yantramayam jagat. Dhanyavada. So this the song that is being sung, okay, so has been written with a great passion. I am willing to sacrifice everything for the sake of promotion of Sanskrit. So that is what it basically says. And this is a certain mechanism by which we will be able to build a certain pride in one of the oldest civilizations. After all, we have to understand that it is only through experience that we learn. And the more older the civilization, the more the wisdom that they would have gained. Okay? Because people undergo all sorts of things, right? So that leaves a certain impression in your mind, and the mind has the ability to analyze and learn lessons. So this civilization has found brilliant ways to communicate the wisdom that has been gained by them for posterity. And a huge amount of literature has been created. And the creativity is something which can be easily enhanced, provided you tune yourself to that beautiful language. So that is the message that they try to convey through that. We can do various other things. This is not going to be detrimental. It is only going to be enhancing the skills. So this is all I wanted to do. Thank you.
Thank you everyone for coming. We will have a few more minutes on this session. Anybody wants to share your thoughts, Veda, Aditi, what you learned from Mahodaya today? You know?
Thank you. So thanks everyone for coming, and it's a pleasure to have everyone. I hope you all enjoyed Mahodaya's lecture. So as you all probably know, Sanskrit Bharati has been working in New Jersey for more than 10 years, for a very long time, and we have classes. Is everyone aware of New Jersey Sanskrit Bharati activity? Anyone doesn't know about us? So we have classes for children, classes for adults as well. As Mahodaya is saying, we have to get the children started at a young age so that they can retain Grahana Dharana Patuhu Bhavati Balaha. Grahanam and Dharana also, that's only possible when the kids are young. And for that to happen, we have to bring them to class. There is a lot they learn. There is a curriculum that is designed for 7 years for them, and then they go into Safal, they continue to study. So there is a long runway for them to learn. Similarly, to create Samskrita Griham, the adults have to also learn something, so that there is conversation going on, there are activities going on in Sanskritam, so it becomes natural for them to absorb the language. So we, in many classes, like chess class or whatever, you just take your child, put them there, and then you leave and get your grocery. So we don't want that. We want the parents also to study while the child is learning. So that's why we have rented this facility. So classes are going on for both adults and kids. So I really encourage everyone to study the language. As Mahodaya mentioned, the language is really fascinating. The more you get into it, the sweeter it sounds. It becomes part of your life. There is so much to explore, so much to learn from Kavya, Shastra, and so on and so forth. Starting with very simple